Welcome. Okay, so before I introduce our today's facilitator, I'm going to be pasting our pre-test form. We would like you to click on the link in the chat. Just give me a minute. You're welcome. I'm seeing so many people joining us from different parts of Nigeria. So please, we would like you to click on the link and fill out the pre-test survey, because we would like to know the area we would like to know your level of knowledge on today's topic. Sami, you're welcome. Mr. Chidebere, you're welcome. Kindly fill out the pre-test form, please. All right, and now to introduce our facilitator for today, who will be taking us on the topic, assembling a proposal package. We have, in the person of Mrs. Amaka Ogidi. If you attended the December webinar, she was our wonderful facilitator, and we had an interesting webinar in December. She discussed on the roles of the research administrator, and today she's going to be talking about how to assemble the grant proposal package. So Mrs. Amako Ogidi has been a research administrator for over 10 years now. She has supported faculty, she has supported upcoming research administrators. She has trained a lot also in Nigeria. And in the Office of Research and Sponsored Projects Administration at the University of Nigeria, she is the lead grants administrator. She is also a member of the National Council of University Research Administration, and that's CARA, and she is an CARA Fellow. Amaka Ogidi is a very passionate educator, and she has trained multiple research administrators. She has led the submission of over 100 grant proposals in over 10 years of her career in research administration and management. So please, you're going to help me and welcome our very own Amaka Ogidi as she takes us on the topic for this month's webinar. Welcome, Madam Amaka. We're happy to have you again.
Thank you so much, and welcome, colleagues, to today's section. It's a pleasure to gather again under this umbrella to share our ideas again and help our colleagues come up with what we do and what we all need to learn together. I want to welcome you to this section. So, like my colleague have introduced, for this particular month of March, we are going to be looking at the topic, that is assembling a complete proposal package. And I want to say welcome once more to each and every one of us. Okay, so let us go on with the activity of today. So, this is what we intend to look at today. This is our table of contents. So as we move along, I will appreciate, like our facilitator had said, if you've not taken the pre-test, please take a minute to fill it out so that at the end of today, you will be happy to say, this is actually what we said we are going to learn. And if we actually learn that, we'll be able to evaluate and see if there are areas we can improve, or if there are topics we've not been able to cover, or you want us to repeat again in case you find it, some areas of it worth repeating. So these topics or these sessions are what we are going to go through today. And please, if you have a question, don't forget to use the Q&A. After the presentation, we are going to give enough time to take some of our questions. You're welcome. Okay. So learning objectives. We said the main purpose is for us to understand, to learn some of the skills that are involved in assembling a complete grant proposal in our efforts to seek and to secure funding for our desired projects. That's for our investigators, for our scientists. And by the end of this section, participants will be able to explain what it means to assemble a complete grant proposal package and identify some of the documents that are always needed in a proposal package, and mention some of the guiding principles, at least two of them, things that will guide us to make sure that what we have put together is complete. And of course, we have some practical steps we need to take in our efforts to do that. Okay. Now, for a word of introduction, we're looking at what could answer a proposal. And we say anything you put together to convince another person to change his or her former idea, or to sell an idea to somebody that could make him, okay, decide to look at things from your own eyes, a proposal. But in this case, you are looking at a self-explanatory write-up to convince some people to actually buy into your idea to the level that they are ready to give in some financial commitments to allow you actualize that your idea. Get out the input you said you are going to get. But now today we're looking at putting together a comprehensive package that responds to all the basic requirements that the funders, those that are going to part with the money or the finances, they have said, this is what we are looking out for. This is what we want to get from you. This is the information you want to give us. Ability to assemble all that requirements comprehensively enough is what we call assembling a complete proposal. Not just assembling a proposal package, but assembling a complete one that is able to answer all the questions they said they need you to answer. So we said actually doing this is the duty of research administrators, that their major role is to help the investigators, the scientists in doing this. And then normally in our former past webinar, we have talked about the Grants Management Office. And why it is important to have that as a central body that does this for all the faculties within either a particular faculty, department, or a complete institution. There is need to have a grant management office. And it is actually one of the last steps before a proposal is submitted. Why does it matter? Why is it important to take time to assemble this? Because it demonstrates professionalism for the person that is doing it. It depicts diligence to pick all the pieces together. Innovation, ability, even the ones that are still not clear, your ability to be innovative enough to make inquiry, look at the ones they have funded, ask questions, use the resources to make sure that you come up with something that is complete. Now, it also depicts that you are qualified in the field you are practicing. It depicts credibility, even for your scientist, your investigator that you want to project. Remember, doing that is helping your investigator to sell your investigator's idea, his credibility, his professionalism to the funder. So it matters, because when you take your time to assemble this, you also increase the chance of that particular proposal being funded. That is why it matters to take your time to put together a very comprehensive or complete proposal application. Thank you so much. Okay, here we want to give an illustration with two funders. Normally, most of our webinars, we tilt more towards NIH because we know they are, or they used to be, the greatest funders. I think they are still, in spite of the little shaky ground now, they are still one of the greatest funders of biometrical research, medical researches, or public health research. So now we are putting up two examples to say these are the components. Basic. There could be little changes with some other funders, but these things are basic. And remember, why we often use NIH as a typical example is that most often they are more detailed. They demand more things than most of the funders. Now, in recent time, having gone into Wellcome Trust, we found out that Wellcome Trust also has some specific unique things that ordinarily you may not think. But when you go into their platform, you will find out that there are small other things that you need to assemble so that you are not beaten down at the last minute. Even if your scientist is busy assembling and documenting the sciences, you that is a research administrator need to pick all these pieces together. Start early to pick them together to make sure that your investigator's application will not be thrown out, will not miss review because some of these pieces are not there. Okay, we said guiding principles. Some of the things that are guardrails that direct you to make sure you are able to put these things together. We said the guiding principle is for you first. Understand that each proposal application is unique. Very, very unique. Especially in recent time, that there's always a lot of updates, a lot of change in terrain. Some of the funders would put up an information to say, oh, we are changing this. Oh, this thing is changing. Oh, we are modifying this. But some funders may not even go far to organize a webinar or put up the information about some of these changes. You only get to notice them when you go into their platform. You now come across them. And another thing is our own area is very unique because of the background we are coming from. So some of their publications, we are not predisposed to go searching, looking out for what is it today. Like, it's with experience over time that I got to understand that sometimes you need to go on and search some of these your basic funders, some of those people your investigator submits to. You go and check their website to see if there has been any update, any information. Then in some of them, you can subscribe also to their listserv to see if they publish, they can copy you and you get a copy of some of those updates. So we said, each proposal application is unique. And because it is unique, you have to give it time. Go in, study it severally. Find out if there were studies in this field that they have funded before. Go outside for it, look at what and what was the sections of that funded application. What and what don't I have yet? What and what did I not capture when I read the notice of funding opportunity? These are very good guiding principles. The next one is to look out if they advertised for a webinar, an informational webinar, to educate as many that wish to apply to that funded application request. NIH is good at it, and I found out that Welcome Trust is also doing it of recent. The issue is, if you start early, you will be able to meet the date for the webinar so that you can attend. When you attend it, they try to throw light on any area they found out is shady, that people may begin to question the actual meaning of those things or those requests. So they take their time to throw light on those areas, and they give opportunity. If you are, you are going to apply for this opportunity announcement, ask your questions. That's a very good opportunity that we like to utilize. The next one is, at any point that you find something shady, so long as you started early, check out if there's a contact. Most of them put in their program officer's contact, and they will say, in case you need any guide, you can reach out to this contact. It's a very good thing to always use that, to ask questions, to get clarification. That is a very good, a big way you can assist your investigator, or even if it's the investigator that initiated it, try and participate, because in that such a forum, you will be able to ask questions. If you have read the funding opportunities that are a bit shady to you, there is no need for a guesswork, because guessing will not help. You make a world of mistake. Okay, so we say common mistakes in assembling a proposal package. The first one is assumption. Thinking, I had submitted an NIH funding opportunity application before. They are just the same thing. It's the same thing. Or maybe, no, arrow 2133, I have submitted it before. So it's, to you, you think it's a walkover. It is not. Or there's an area you read and there's something maybe about the budget cap and it's not very clear. Maybe they said the first year you're not supposed to exceed this particular budget cap, and then the second year you can apply, and then if your application is granted, you can explain why you need to exceed it. And if you are granted, you can don't assume, ask questions. Assumption is a very big mistake. The next one is non-diligence. Non-diligence in the fact area that you did not study the NOFO between lines. Taking time, read it the first time, go back, after it, read again. Then the next one, you can highlight those ones you think they are very salient, very critical. You have to be diligent, and you need to start early. There's nothing like crash work, crash activity. Most often, it leads to failure. You will find out that with all the efforts, months of effort by your investigator, trying to put it together, your own weeks of effort trying to assemble it, if you don't start early, if you allow it to be a crash activity, you just want to crash in and do it, you will waste all that time and all that effort. I mean, when you See investigators that really put in time to develop their application. You will see the stress they go through, and you will also see the frustration they go through if finally that proposal application did not go through. So you, as a ready help, as an admin assistant to your investigator, you need to start early. Don't make the mistake of waiting till the last minute. Please don't. Take your time. Take time to put these things together so that you don't miss important documents that are required. Okay, practical tips and best practices. We have mentioned some of them. These are some of the things out of experience we are growing to learn and to practice so that we get the best of the result. And the first one says, read and read again. Each funding opportunity announcement or proposal application request. Please, you can't say you've just read it once and you already understand everything you need to assemble, or you just read it twice and you understand it is not possible. I mean, some people, if you can have to read it up to 5 times, even at the point of submission, you may still need to confirm 1 or 2 things. So please read and read again. Then after the first, second, or the third reading, begin to highlight or pen down some of the things that are required. It is with these things that you pen down here that you develop what we call a checklist. So it's you that have to develop that checklist. That is one of the basic tools that you need for you to be able to assemble a complete proposal package. You need to develop a checklist. And that your checklist must have very clear timelines, both your own internal timelines and also the timeline of the funding agency, the due dates or the deadlines they're given to you. You have to clearly specify this in your checklist, and then you need to share it with your investigator. If you are in something like my own organization that we develop a platform for our collaboration where you can access the information, the investigator can access it in real time, even the co-investigators and all that are working on it. We use what we call the Dropbox. And so inside that Dropbox, you have all these things put together. And the checklist is one of the things you need to develop early and you put on the Dropbox for the investigator and co-investigators, the principal investigator and the co-investigators, to guide them, to help them to know what they need to make available for you to put together. Then the last practical tip is start assembling the needed documents early. Early could mean 6 weeks to due date. It could mean 3 weeks to due date. But please don't wait till the due dates or the deadline. Don't even wait until the last week, because certainly you will miss out a good number of documents. And something like the letters of support, if you don't start early to assemble them, you'll find out that some of the very critical ones you need, you may not be able to get them. It's not in your power to decide who you sent out a letter, when the person will be available to edit or to send you one. And that could be one of the basic things that you need to assemble for that proposal. So you need to start early. Okay, having said this much, I don't know if I would want to ask one basic thing. Maybe you can just put it on the chat if you're here. One basic document that you need to develop that can help you to assemble a proposal document. And let me give you just a minute to see how many of us, please put on the chat, just one basic document tool you know you need to develop that will seriously help you in assembling a complete proposal package. Let's see how many of us caught that. Okay. 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 I can see some, yes. Yes. Thank you so much. I think a good number. They caught me there. That is actually the checklist. You need to develop that as soon as possible. Having read the proposal, a notice of funding opportunity, we call it NOFO or request for application. We call it RFA. There are so many of it. Or proposal announcement, funding opportunity announcement, FOA. There are so many names, whichever name it goes through. The first thing you need to do after studying it severally, highlighting some of the key points, is to develop a checklist. Okay, so at this point, I would want us to take a little practical activity, looking at one or two of these notice of funding opportunity. And then the first one we have here is the PAR 25143. That is by NIH. And then our moderator, please, if you can put the funding opportunity link on the chat. Those that are opportune to come in with their laptop, they can click on it. And then I want you to list on the chat, in the chat box, any 3 documents or special instruction you can identify from this funding opportunity. I have it here. I don't know how many of us can read it because of how tiny some of them can be. So I try to enlarge it. I don't know. Either if you can read it from here, or you can click on the link and open. Just identify any 3 documents you think are needed to submit, or you need to assemble for this particular, in response to this funding opportunity. Or any special instruction you could identify that you need to highlight that will help you when you are assembling this particular funding response to this funding opportunity. I'm just going to give you just a few minutes to let you respond. Remember the question. Identify or list just 3. There can be so many here, but identify 3 that documents you need to assemble for this particular response to this funding opportunity announcements, or any special instruction that can guide you in responding to this funding opportunity announcement. Okay, so do we have some responses coming in? Okay. Okay. 3, I'm giving you 3 minutes. Just 1 per minute, just identify. This is the first of the activity. If you are done, you can just give a thumbs up that you are done. If you've been able to identify 3, you can put in a thumbs up in reaction, and we know that you are done. Okay? And there are people that have been able to list 3. Do we have responses in the house? Is it too difficult? I want to hear responses. Let me hear somebody respond. Is it too difficult to assemble 3 of the documents that you need to assemble for a complete proposal document? application. Okay. Someone can give me a thumbs up if you've responded, okay? Okay. Thank you so much. Yes. Remember, we're going to have 2 activities. This is one. We'll still take from the other one. Okay. I see it coming in. Thank you very much. Yeah, I need to know that you understand it. You are following what we are discussing. Thank you so much. Okay. Moderator, is our minute over for that activity 1?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Let's
So
move on.
thank you. Let's go to the second activity. And that one is with the Welcome Trust funding. So this is another funding opportunity announcement. You can see funding opportunity here. And it's talking about the Welcome Early Career Awards. So I want you also identify 3 things or instructions here that will guide you in assembling a comprehensive application package in response to this funding opportunity. Even in guiding you, in case your investigator is missing something, you can call the investigator's attention. So I want you to also identify 3 of such instructions, special instructions, or the document that you need, that have demanded here, that you need to. Okay. And the responses coming in. Okay. 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 Do I have people that have been able to identify 3 of such? Okay. Moderator, is it coming in?
Yes, we have
Do we
some
have
ones that are
people?
coming in.
Do we have people respond?
Yes. Would you
Yes,
want me
to
to read?
please, we need your active involvement. Let us know that you understand what we are saying, so that when it is time for questions, we can ask questions in the areas that are not very clear. But let's see how much you're able to cope with what we're explaining. Then, I think I see the responses coming in too. Thank you. Okay. Have we gotten all we need can get? Okay. Okay, so let's do it together here now. If we've gotten the much we can look at it together. Okay. Okay. Okay, here I have what I call activity tips to help you. These are some of the things we could see on that NIH platform. We could see the areas where they listed the documents and the instruction that for you to submit your responses, you must access the forms that you're going to use through Assist. Through Assist, you're going to access the forms. See, the application forms package specific to this opportunity must be accessed through Assist or grants.gov workspace. And then they listed some of the documents or the areas that will want you to find answers and fill up for them. The area of page limitation, the cover page, these are areas you must get them an answer on. And then in the area of welcome trust, looking at it, the first is we can see the deadline clearly written, clearly highlighted. And then you can see the instruction on your budgeting. If you're budgeting for this, if you're planning for this, this is how much they can fund and how much your salary must not exceed. And then you can see the efforts. The PI must contribute no less than 80% effort. I hope we're following. And then look at here, I say, other people you must involve is a must. Other people you must involve in this application. A sponsor, a mentor. These are some of them. Then we can still make out so many research costs we will cover. And the instruction, you must not, in your writing your science and all that, if you are doing clinicals and all that, they have percentage efforts. All these efforts translates to the number of hours or days in a week that you must either put into this work or put into your clinical practice if you're a clinician. Okay, so these are some of the things that we need to, when we are reading, we are highlighting. And when we are penning some of these things down, we are also in our checklist, we are highlighting some of these things to make sure that by the time we are assembling the proposal package, we are checking to be sure that what the scientist said is gonna do, the time is going to be involved in this, the eligibility, all that they are all covered and in compliance with what the funder said they want. There you have an answer to all their questions. You're supplying all the information they say they need to assist them in taking the decision whether this idea is worth giving a second chance or it is not compliant. Okay, so at this point, having reviewed some of these guidelines, some of these guiding principles, and the ability to identify this, I would plead, our moderator is going to put a link on the chat. Please, I will plead that you click on that link and be able to answer just one or two of these questions to make sure to see how far you grasp what we're talking about. And then so that it will help you also in the next phase, we have something you've not understood very well, or you want a more highlights, we can do that. So please take just 2 minutes. You may not even exhaust 2 minutes to click on the posters link and please give it a try. Moderator, do we have the post-test link now
Yes, it's
on
up.
the chat?
Yes,
Okay,
we have
thank you
that
so
chat.
much. Thank you. So we're going to take a few minutes for that. Then we'll give room for our conclusion and questions, of course. Please help us because it's going to help us in editing subsequent webinars to see if there are ones that we will need to either expand more, or we need to hold as a workshop, or we will need to repeat. Remember, if you have a question, either you put it down on a paper beside you so that you don't forget, or you quickly put it on the Q&A section so that you'll be sure you don't forget it. We are going to attend to it after now. Okay, we have a minute more for your post-test. Please help us respond to that post-test. It's going to help us very well. Yes. Okay. So remember, you can still, if you are not done with the post-test, please, you're welcome to complete it. And so here it is, our key takeaways. Assembling a complete proposal increases your chance of being funded by helping your investigator to assemble a proposal package that is complete. You are increasing your chance, your investigator's chance of being funded. And then the fact that each proposal application ought to be unique. And because it is unique, you have to give it all the attention it requires. You have to, don't take it for granted. The efforts that your investigator puts in to assemble a proposal, to write the sciences, to think it through, is not what you would want to just waste because you did not take your time to assemble it. And remember, developing a checklist to me now is like a must. If you are willing to assemble something that is critical. So developing a checklist is critical to your success in assembling a complete proposal package. And the fact that doing that is one of the last administrative steps you need to undertake before that application is sent to the funders. That means you have checked it, you have formatted it, you have checked all the things that are required, the specified page limitation, the formatting, the font size, everything. And then you can say it is good to go. That is your last step. So at this point, I think we have taken a time to look at this. Now it will be your own turn to ask a question. If you want to ask a question, you can raise your hand, and then our moderator will give you the chance to unmute and you ask your question. Or if you couldn't, you have put it on the Q&A. She's going to read it out and we will also attend to it. Okay. Moderator, I can see a hand up. Can you call the person up to ask the question, please?
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Amaka, for the wonderful presentation. I think the plan is for the questions to be, for them to use the chat and ask the question. You can write it in the chat, or you can put it up on the Q&A. then we'll read it out and you answer. But we have a
Thank
question.
you.
Let me read it out so you can go ahead with that.
Okay.
Someone is asking,
Okay.
someone says, please share how early career researchers can find other funded proposals that have been funded in the past for them to study, given that we may not know those who have been successful previously due to our limited networks. So the person wants to know how to find an already written and submitted proposal, especially the ones that have been funded. Where do they find them?
Okay. Thank you so much for the question. On Welcome Trust platform, there's a section where they will tell you funded projects, all projects they have funded. Not just that, even NIH, most funders, they have a room where they will display some of the old opportunities they have funded. And then some of them will also give you a sample of an application package that will, some of them, though having checked some, I found that that's why I said you may need to start early, because you may go through that, and then when you go in to check funded ones, you find out that in that proposal package, this one that they funded, the person added something like a letter that you did not know it was important. And maybe when you check through the application package, you actually did not notice where that letter is supposed to be attached. And then when you looked at the one they have funded, you found out that a letter was attached at a particular spot. And then remember, you can also use their helps line to ask questions. You can reach out to the program officer and say, please, is there a section here I can find a sample of what you fund or the one you had funded? Some of them will give you a link that will respond, and you'll be able to look out for such and just compare it with what you're putting together and see if you have covered the sections. Thank you. Okay? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Amaka. There's
You're
another
welcome.
question. It says, what is the most critical requirements that make for a successful proposal?
That make for a successful proposal or a successful proposal assemblage. Hello?
Okay, for a successful proposal.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, the person is saying
The
proposal assembly.
first is the science. The first is the science. The science investigator is proposing, is it doable? Did the investigator think it through? Is it innovative? Most of the funders on their platform, they will also give you a guide on what the type of things they fund. They will tell you either it's a basic science or it's a process proposal, and they will tell you what they expect you to put. Those are basic. But the fact is that after all that, ability to put it together in compliance with what they demanded makes your application successful to a large extent. Like the Welcome Trust we displayed here, or the NIH, they will tell you that if your proposal is not in compliance with this formatting and instruction, that it will not be reviewed. And of course, if your proposal is not reviewed, they wouldn't even know what science you're writing, whether it is what they are interested in or not. So what is that is the place of the PI, the scientist, to come up with something innovative, something that is in the now, where interests are going. Some of the funders, like NIH, at a time, they will organize something like a webinar and said, these are the areas of interest now. So whatever you are writing, first you have to make sure it is in the area of interest. Some they will tell you the purpose of this funding announcement. So those are the things that ensure your proposal is going to be reviewed and potentially awarded, funded. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Amaka. Okay, there is a third question, and I believe that after this one, we can receive one more before we close the Q&A session.
Okay.
So it says, first of all, thank you for the lecture. Please, if your location is not among the selected location eligible to apply, could you still apply if you meet other requirements?
No. That is, remember when we talk about reading funding opportunity, we had two things we said is basic, is fundamental. That is where you start. One is eligibility, two is the due date. So once eligibility, you are off. Don't even bother. Don't bother. Okay.
Okay. Mm.
Okay, please, we have a link for webinar assessments, evaluation, to get a feedback from you. What do you think about this type of webinar? Do you think it's something we can go ahead to organize? Do you think it improved your knowledge of this area of research administration? Do you think the topic was well presented, or would you prefer that maybe we use another pattern for the presentation? So please help us respond to that. Is to evaluate the webinar, and then if there's a topic you also wish we introduce, you can put it also as a suggested topic on the chat. So we can consider to schedule it amongst our subsequent months. Okay? So please, our moderator, can you put up the webinar assessment evaluation link on the chat for them?
It's up.
Please click
It's
on
up.
that and let's hear your opinion about that. Okay? So please, you have our emails. It will go on the chat. If you have a question or you want us to reach out to you, and we also have a link for you to join our group, our platform. Please, the moderator can do justice to all of that. I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. And we hope to see you again in our next month section. Thank you so much. Thank you, the moderator.
Thank you, Madam Amaka. Thank you, everyone. So please, just before we go, Madam Amaka, can you help us and, okay, or let me just stop sharing so I can share the NISA flyer. Okay, Madam Amaka, can you see the NISA flyer now?
The flyer has not come up yet. Okay, it's up.
Okay.
Moderator, you are muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So we're using this opportunity to invite everyone to the NISA conference, the NISA 2026 conference. It's happening from September 2nd to September 4th in Abuja Continental Hotel. Okay. If you want to know more about research administration, and there are other aspects when it comes to research, when it comes to implementation science, we encourage everyone to register for the NISA conference. Then right now there is a call for abstract submission and the deadline is April 15th. If you're interested in submitting your abstract, you can click on the NISA registration link and you're going to get more information on the theme for the year and the themes that, all the topics that are allowable to be submitted. So you can write your abstract and submit it before the deadline, and hopefully your abstract will be accepted. Okay, so it's best to start on time so you can prepare to attend the NISA conference. We hope to see you there. Thank you. Madam Amaka, that's all from my end.
Thank you so much, Tim. We appreciate every and each one of us. I see a hand. Hello, Catherine. Sorry. Hello. Hello. Okay, is the hand down now? Have we answered your question? Okay, please feel free to write in. You can send in an email to the email address on the chat. You can send in an email and we'll attend to your question. Even after now, we shall attend to you, please. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone. Please see you next month's webinar. Please share the announcement abroad when we send it out. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. See you next month.